Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Papaya Pod race review with Jimmy and Keith. I'm Jimmy,
I'm Keith.
and this is the Papaya Pod race review. And of course, we are reviewing the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Keith, come on, take it away.
What can I say? Jubilation into frustration from being upbeat to sulking for the rest of Sunday. So, Jimmy, I don't know about you, but I didn't want to get up early o'clock. I'd watched the qualifying, thought we was in a strong position, thinking that would pole be the best or would second be in the best place. And I went to bed thinking, no, I'm just going to get a good night's sleep and I'll be ready for racing. All notifications turned off, all set to go at breakfast time. And then the bombshell. Over to Jimmy.
Yeah, for those that have been living under a rock for the past 48 hours or so, a bit longer now, perhaps. Both McLarens got disqualified after what was a very solid race. So no points. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of this week's episode.
So thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I was the same. Me and Keith both did the same. We didn't get up at 4 o'clock to watch it, thank goodness. We both turned our phones off, so we didn't see any spoilers. Both watched the race, blissfully happy, I think.
Blissfully, yeah, very happy, yeah.
Thought it was a very solid result.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think McLaren fans were generally expecting too much from Vegas. It wasn't going to be our strongest race.
No.
And I actually posted out a tweet and on the Instagram saying this was a great result. You know, we should be happy with the points that the guys have gained. Obviously, especially Lando, he was the biggest. His was the biggest gain of all of the three still in it. And then it was just like ping, ping, ping. Are you sure about that? You need to check it. And I was like, what's going? And before I'd even had a chance to refresh my social media screens, I was like, what's going on? And then, of course, I pressed the home button and wallop, there it all was.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was gutted, man. Like, well, we all were, right? We're McLaren fans, of course we were. What was your initial thought? Let's just get straight into that. We've both made so many notes from the weekend, I know, which we can still talk about because there's still a lot of interesting points. But you know, the elephant in the room is that's what happened. So, what was your initial thought when you saw that both cars had been disqualified?
I've got to go from delight to disqualification. I was like, no, what on earth? What are you absolutely talking about? Our engineering, our scrutineering, we would have made sure that we'd got. I did think that we were fuel saving. I did actually get a little bit of worry thinking, oh no, has Lando got enough juice in the tank to get him back for testing? That was my only worry. But then all of a sudden I find out our skid planks are 0.18 or I know there are rules and rules are rules. And had that been on the other foot, I would have been shouting. So I've got to take it. I've got to take it. But they posted out that both cars' planks were identical initially. I know they then rectified that and did a bit of it because that was a bit of a copy and paste moment. But then you start thinking, well, am I going to go down the conspiracy route? Because it's like thinking, hang on, do they not want us to win this at this moment in time? Have we got to go right down to Abu Dhabi again for the final result before we're allowed to have a championship wrapped up? McLaren was sitting in the points. Lando was looking pretty good. Max was still there, but he wasn't there, but he is now.
Yeah, my initial thought after the race was that's it now. You know,
Me too.
Lando doesn't need much now to secure it. It's okay, not
Yeah.
mathematically done, but we were all confident, right?
I was
Especially
confident we got it in the
going
bag.
into Qatar and Abu Dhabi, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. It unfortunately, and most people that listen to this regularly will know what we think of conspiracy theorists overall, especially this season. But unfortunately, when something like this happens, your mind does initially go there.
Of course it does. Yes, of course.
Okay, for Formula One in general, it
Yeah.
would be much better if this goes down to the last race of the season. Abu
Of course.
Dhabi pay a hell of a lot of money to host this race. They would like to see it go down to the last race of the season. But damn the FIA, you bang out of order. sack everyone at the F1. Not really, I'm joking. Rules are rules. Like Keith said, right? Not one McLaren fan can moan about it, if you like, because at the end of the day, like I said on Twitter and Instagram, we're in a sport where every thousandth of a second counts. The
Yes, it
most
does. Yeah.
minimal of time frames matters. And it's the same with size, right? Every 1.82 millimeters, sorry, 0.182, whatever it was,
Mm.
millimeters counts as well.
Yeah.
And that is what it is. There's a reason that every part on the car has a minimum requirement. It's the same with fuel, like Keith was just saying. That's what we were worried about with Lando, because that was the
Mm.
initial thought. He had obviously dropped right off,
Mm.
and the commentators mentioned fuel, and I think that's what we were all thinking. Of course, we saw that we saw with George Russell with his tyres. He didn't have enough tyre tread, so he got disqualified. So all these things are there for a reason, and I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of it is to do with the safety of the drivers as well. So I do get it. It just, I was on the Motorsport Review with Perry, and we were talking about it, and 0.18 millimeters is so small. I don't think you could get your finger and thumb that close together without it touching. That is the kind of,
It is wafer thin.
yeah, it's thinner than a human hair. It's so that really hurts a
Yeah,
lot.
it does. It made
But
it. It's a big, huge point swing, though, isn't it? At the end of the day, Jimmy, we saw those points come on, but we saw them swing straight back out the other way, and we walk away with a big fat zero.
yeah, ultimately, the big winner from all of this is Max Verstappen. There's no
Yes.
question in that.
Yeah.
And fair play to him. He drove a great race. You can't
Yes, he
doubt
did.
that.
Yep, he did.
But weirdly, Oscar kind of benefits from this a little bit,
He does. He
because
definitely
Lando is
does.
now not as far ahead as he would have been.
Yep, that's right.
So Oscar's probably feeling a bit better about it out of either of the two McLaren drivers, I would imagine. Hence why we saw him walking off smiling with Mark Webber after the briefing on Sunday
Mm.
evening. So, or would have been Saturday evening over there, of course, early hours Sunday morning. It's hard to take, but we have to take it. We have to move on. McLaren's motto, right? Forever forward.
Yep.
It's done. It's done. It's dusted. It's now just about keeping the guys mentally strong, going into Qatar this
Yeah.
weekend and just doing a job.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Lando just has to come out of this weekend. All he has to do is gain 2 points on Max and Oscar. We can't rule out Oscar. A lot of things I'm reading are, oh, well, he's got to do this over Max. Oscar is still in this. Let's not
Yes.
kid
Yes, he
ourselves.
is. Yes, he is. Very much so.
Oscar's switch can come back on as quickly as it went off. I've got no doubt about that, especially with these two
Absolutely.
races coming up. So,
Mm-hmm.
yes, Max is absolutely in it, but Oscar is too. So, but all Lando has to do is gain 2 points over those two drivers this weekend, and we got a sprint
Yes,
and a race.
that's right.
If he does that, it's done, mathematically done. All he's got to do is win.
Well, isn't that
I
easy
say
for us
all
to
he's
say?
got to
You've
do is
only
win.
got to
Like,
win,
yeah,
Lando.
like nothing.
But when we're talking about this skid plan, this skid plate, and it's there, and we're talking about this fine gap, this minimum gap. If you think about our qualifying though, and you think about our cars now with this generation of car, which we know is going to change at the end of the season, but we are talking thousands of a tenth of a second sometime away from pole. It is that fine margins sometimes across the board. So we're and I know they said we were porpoising, but I didn't see much porpoising going on.
No.
I know we didn't see much of Lando in the race or Oscar as such on the TV, but I certainly didn't see that many sparks flying, and it didn't look like they were porpoising. But obviously, we weren't in the car; we don't know.
The one I did notice towards the end was when Oscar overtook Isaac Hadjar.
Yes, yes,
Because as the camera panned to them during the overtake, there was so many sparks. I'll be honest, I thought Oscar had picked up a puncher.
yeah.
He
So
hadn't. It was just the car was too low.
So were McLaren aware of this? Were they telling Lando on those last few laps, you need to slow down, stop the porpoising, don't hit any curbs because we're worried about our wear?
I think they must have been right. They've got a million sensors on these cars.
They've got thousands, haven't they? Thousands,
I
thousands.
think they would have been well aware, and I could imagine the panic in that garage, to be honest. And back at the MTC, where of course they got all the data as well, the panic must have been, yeah, they
Yeah.
obviously knew well before we did.
Yeah, excuse me. Yes, yeah, very much so. It's a momentum killer for us a lot, though, isn't it? Because it literally just stopped us all in our tracks on Sunday afternoon. And I said, off air, I was sharing something with our very famous Tom Gaymore, that famous Sky producer, Tom. And he said something about it. I said, Tom, I'm still sulking. And I was absolutely honest. I'm sulking. And I was like a petulant child. I was sulking. Wifey's a Ferrari fan. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine she had a few laughs at you. Well, my other half went out for a walk with a friend of hers Sunday morning, and she come back, and I was just sat on the sofa, just like you said. I was sulking. I was like a little child who just hadn't got their own way. I'm not going to lie. And she come back, she walked in and went, "Oh, did it not go well?" I said, "No, it went great. The race was fantastic."
And then it went.
But we've been disqualified. And she was like, "Why? What happened?" I said, "I don't want to talk about it. It's the only time she's ever tried to show any interest in Formula One. I didn't even want to talk about it."
Oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, listen, they blamed the lack of data that they were able to get through the practice and qualifying sessions. Obviously, the Saturday was horrendous.
Yeah.
They
didn't get many long runs in, did they? They didn't get a long run, heavy field long running as such, did they?
No, and I mean even Friday, although the weather wasn't too bad, obviously it was both disrupted sessions. So,
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, every single team on the paddock were in the same boat. And
let me share a thought with you, because we did copious amounts of notes, didn't we?
Yeah, I'm looking at them now, and they all seem pointless.
Yeah, exactly. But this is one I want to dig out. This is one I want to, because we said that Max drove a great race. I can take nothing away from the guy. He, when Lando overcooked that first corner, he took the lead and basically he just went for it. But I think it was, let me just quickly look. I think it was around lap 42. I was sitting there and, looking at the timing screens, and it worked out that his teammate, Yuki Tsunoda, was 60 seconds behind him, a minute behind the leader in the same car. We were, Lando and Oscar, we were there or abouts. We were following. Look, Charles Leclerc and Lewis, they weren't too far apart either. But 60 seconds, a full minute between Max and Yuki.
Yeah.
How?
I think that second Red Bull seat is a poison chalice, isn't it?
You're not, exactly. Why would anybody, as we said before, why would you want to be demoted to take that seat?
Yeah. I mean, Sergio Perez Checo, he spoke about it, didn't he? And he said it's an impossible task. The car is built for Max and the way Max drives, and which is understandable. Why would you not build a car for the best driver on the grid? But yeah, I don't know if you would want that second seat. I mean, of course you would take it, but it'll be interesting to see what Checo does in the Cadillac next year. And do you know what? I'm rooting for those guys. I love Valtteri Bottas, so I'm rooting for him hard.
I do love an underdog team as well. So come on, let's bring it on.
Yeah, do you know I am rooting for Cadillac? Don't get me wrong. I don't want them to beat McLaren by any stretch of the imagination, but I would love to see them do really well, and
So would
especially
I.
those two drivers as well. Just to see them doing well would be nice.
Wouldn't it be nice if it came out the box and it was ready to go? They hit the street running. They didn't have that. They'd done their homework, and that car was ready to race. And they're going to be, in that midfield to the top of the field pack and pushing, for the leads and stuff. It's just going to make racing more interesting again.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting next season. There's a whole lot of changes. Basically, start again, right? It's anyone's.
Yeah,
I mean, very, very interesting.
I wonder psychologically, how would you or I feel if we were supposedly in equal machinery? We're both top tier drivers, and yet my teammate is over a minute ahead of me. Psychologically, what does that do to you in that second seat? How did Checo? We know he didn't like it. We know there was a lot of red mist at times, but you got to say psychologically that must be really hard work.
You would ask a lot of questions, wouldn't you? I think of
Yeah,
yourself and the team.
yeah.
People forget how good Checo was as
Mm.
well, unfortunately, because of his last season. People forget how important a role he played in Max's championships in the past.
You
People
know, the
forget
guy
that
can
very
drive.
quickly.
Valtteri was probably one of the best teammates ever. You know,
Yeah,
Lewis actually said he absolutely loved having him as a teammate. They got on well. They shared data. They, yeah,
yeah. I like the lineup. I like that
I
pairing.
like the
I know
lineup now.
there was a meme going around saying McLaren has two number one drivers and Cadillac has two number two drivers, which is funny, but it's blooming harsh.
But it's ironically, statistically, it's
Well,
correct.
yeah, it is because they both have been famous number two drivers. Yeah, but yeah, I'm going to be rooting for those guys. Absolutely, I am.
Can we give another big shout out as well while we're here, while we're talking? Because clearly we did watch a lot of other racing, or it's because we've cut a lot of ours out. But Ollie Behrman again and some of the overtakes.
Yeah,
Ollie again.
yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, phenomenal. It's only a matter of time till he's in red, mate. I think.
Do you know he's going to be, isn't he? You know, if you were like he is, you know, driving with a Ferrari-based engine, being part of that development team, why would you not want to put that youngster in a full-blown red car? I mean,
Yeah.
whoa! And you know, it was great to see the youngsters in there again. You know, they were pushing hard. But a couple of them really stand out, don't they? And Ollie has got to be, and it's not British biasness, or is it? Probably is, yeah. You know, but yeah, you know,
I think
Ollie,
it's allowed. It's all
it's
right.
allowed. But Ollie yet again has proven himself that he don't mind getting those elbows out, and he will make that move if he can.
It's funny with him because when he talks in interviews and stuff, he comes across as just so quiet and timid and
Yeah,
just a
mellow.
lovely, lovely young lad. And you put him behind a wheel and he turns into an animal.
He's a monster. But what about the quote? The monster's coming for me.
Yeah, exactly that. Speaking of
Leclerc was the
animals,
monster on this race. You
yeah,
know, monsters coming.
yeah, Leclerc, I'm driving like an animal. Yeah, brilliant.
Oh,
Um, Listen, I've made all these notes, so I'm going to read some of them out.
yeah, let's do this. Come on.
We'll skim over FP1 and 2 because it
It's
wasn't a
pointless.
great deal there. Yeah, and 3, in fact. Do you know what? Qualifying, let's talk about that because I said
Mm.
to Perry, I think that's been the most, as a fan, not as a driver, certainly, the most entertaining qualifying session I think we've had all year.
I think I'm going to agree with you totally. That was possibly one of the best qualifying sessions we've seen in a very long time for that competitiveness, not knowing if the car was safe. You know, if you put in a banker lap, which we know Lando did, and was, oh, he's nice and safe. And the next thing you know, he's down in ninth, and you're like, oh, because
It
that
was
track was just
insane.
coming alive, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you just complete the lap safely, that was the key for all of them, I think, wasn't it? I mean,
Going out on
seeing the
those,
cars drifting around the corner, what an amazing sight. I mean, the car they don't want him to do that, of course, but as a
what
as a viewer, I mean, watching that was incredible.
I mean, the skill involved. You know, when they were, you know, understeering and the back was slipping, they turned into that skid. You know, wow,
Yeah,
wow,
it was quite
phenomenal.
incredible.
Talk about fast hands, making sure that, and fast feet. So dipping the clutch, turning the wheels, so all at 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's insane. I forget who one of the drivers at one point, he had his hand off the steering wheel to try and get a further lock on the wheel because it was almost, I forget who it was now. But yeah, it was
Yeah,
amazing driving.
you know, and then you know you see Lance Stroll, who ironically was having a
Yeah,
fantastic qualifying session. Then he comes out on those inters, and you're a bit like, ooh, and of course didn't pay. It
no.
totally didn't pay.
It was a very, very odd decision. I don't know who made
Mm,
that call, but it was a strange one that
yeah, because he was setting some blistering laps in the
he
rain.
was. His tyres were up to temperature, weren't they? He was, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a really bizarre decision that. I mean,
I mean,
Lando in Q1, I was getting worried. At one point, you go, "Oh, he's safe." You know, he was second or whatever he was. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom.
yeah.
He ended up 13th in Q1, and
And you're
got through
thinking,
by the scruff of
oh,
his neck, really.
any other race day, that could have been a completely different result.
Mm.
But then he goes in, puts those full wets back on, comes out into Q2, and it's like,
Oh,
okay, who's woken up the demon then?
yeah,
Because it was like, right, okay, I can't put in any safety laps. I've got to go for fast ones straight out, bang. And I suppose because we did have the full wet on, they were able to do fast lap, recharge lap, and again putting in a second because they weren't worried about the tires degrading
exactly that.
and they were looking for wet spots as well because they wanted to keep those tires cool. And I was looking for the dry spot, thinking, no, that's making my bum twitch, and they're out.
It is incredible. I mean, it was nice as a fan to
Oh,
actually
it was
see the wet
fabulous.
tires used. I mean, when was
Yeah.
the last time we actually saw the wet tires out? Even in the rain, they often don't turn to them.
Yeah, they've often said the rain delayed start, etc. We're not putting the wets on, so to actually get a wet qualifying was actually was it everybody's cup of tea? Don't know, but as a fan's perspective,
Oh, I
oh
loved it.
hell yeah, it was great fun.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
watching red Ferraris and Red Bulls and McLarens going sideways round the
yeah.
corner, drifting, and you're like, oh hello, what's going on?
How they kept these cars in control is yeah, no idea. It is worth mentioning that although Lando was only 13th in Q1, his last lap of Q1, he was flying. He went purple, purple, but he got caught out by the yellow flag
Didn't he
in the
just?
final
Didn't he
sector.
just? Yeah.
So had that not had happened, there's a good chance he would have
I think
been
he'd have top pole
up the
again. He would
top.
have.
I think
Yeah, I
so.
think so too. Yeah, I was watching those purples come in. And they were saying everybody was struggling on the first stretch, and Lando was not clearly struggling. He was putting those laps together.
Those
But yeah,
first
he
two
got caught
sectors,
up with that
incredible.
yellow flag yet again, didn't he? So yeah,
He did. He didn't make no mistakes for Q2 because he was the first one out of his garage ready to go for Q2, which was quite funny. He obviously wasn't taking any risks.
he's like, I've just got to get this job done. I'm out here. I'm doing this.
Uh,
You
in Q2, and I made a note of this because I spoke about it again with Perry, but it was fantastic. They went on board with Lando,
know.
and like I always say, that in the cockpit camera, how in the dry is incredible. And you think,
But in
how
that
can
wet,
these guys see on an open track in the dry? We're on a street circuit in the
mhm,
hammering rain.
with walls that far either side,
I mean, it was incredible. But
it's
what was
unbelievable.
extra special about watching that was they went quite a long way round the lap, and Jenson Button narrated this lap
Didn't he just?
perfectly.
Didn't he just?
And do you know what? Sky have to do everything they can to keep Jensen in that commentary box because that man is absolutely brilliant.
Well, funny you should say that, but my notes say here, please mention Jenson Button. Because,
Yeah,
I've got to say, having Jenson and Bernie together in a weekend,
yeah,
you get Bernie's perspective on what the tyres are doing. And she was dead right again. She got it. She nailed it again. And then you've got Jensen, talking us through those laps, and you get that real understanding. He knows what he's talking about. He is a world champion, etc. But yeah, please, Sky, come on. It was fantastic
yeah.
to have Bernie in one corner, Jensen in the other. What more can you ask for
Oh,
for,
yeah,
for
absolutely.
dialogue and understand? If you're a new fan to F1 and you don't really understand it, what a cracking weekend to get those two together to really pick the bones apart, and they make you understand what the car's doing, why it's doing it, and how it's doing it. I just loved it. I just thought it was
Well,
fantastic.
they don't overcomplicate anything, do they? They talk
No,
in basic terms, like you said,
yeah,
so everyone can understand it,
mm.
whether you're watching for the first time or whether you've been watching it for 40 years. They're just this it just yeah, I amazing. Both of them, like you say, yeah, Bernie as well. Absolutely brilliant. So shout out to those two guys because yeah, they need to the show's always better when they're both on it, that's for damn sure.
Especially as we know that Jensen used to drive a McLaren as well, which just makes it a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah, and he's Formula One world champion, and he knows what he's talking about.
But they were a breath of fresh air, weren't they? I mean, I glow when you talk about them. I'm like, oh, I get all excited because I do really enjoy the commentary because it is broken down into layman's terms. They're not talking engineering where we're going, what does that mean? They're talking common sense, and we just love it.
Yeah, we really do. Speaking of which, I've just had a bit of a thought. Jensen might be the last person to wear to hold the number one on his McLaren car.
Because we were only talking about this last week, last race.
We were.
So I, like you, was doing a little bit of running back through the system, and I thought, right, did Lewis have it? No, carried on with 44. So you know what? I think you're right. I think Jensen was the last one to wear. Let's see if any of the listeners.
No, Lewis would have had number one, surely.
I don't. Did he? What did he?
But
or
Jensen would have been
44. See, I don't remember him changing. He might have done. It might be mine. Probably he might have changed it to number one. But I was convinced he always just used to run the 44.
Oh, we're gonna have to
this
check
is it
us,
now.
guys. Fact check us on this, because
this is us. Please do a fact check.
And I'm trying to think of my dates, but yeah, maybe it was Lewis. I'm trying to figure out the dates, because obviously Jensen won it with Brawn. Was that 2008? Was it?
I'm doing a quick search here while we're checking.
This could be a complete miscalculation on my part, date wise. Or was Lewis 2008? Obviously, we had Fernando Alonso, didn't we?
So I'm going to go to Google now, and any AI that is available out there. Any other station you want to check as well? Yes, Lewis Hamilton has used the number one, but only as a one-off during a practice session at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in 2018 and 29. He chose to keep his permanent racing number of 44. So
there we go.
And he stated he does not like the number one and much prefers his number 44 because it's the number from his childhood karting career, and it has been loyal to him and his fans. There you go, straight from the Oracle. Well,
there
Google
we go. So that confirms it. Jensen was the last person to have a number one on the McLaren. But what year did Jensen win it?
So should we do it?
Let's do it, because I'm really questioning myself now. I've got the worst memory in the world. To anyone listening, genuinely, my memory is shockingly bad. And especially with dates. With dates, it's terrible.
So Jensen did win it again in 20. It was 2009 when Jensen won it.
Okay. I was only 1 year out.
With the Brawn GT, yeah, and so yes,
2010 he would have worn the number one. There you go.
Look at that.
And when did Fernando Alonso have the number one then?
Now you're talking. I don't know.
Well, because didn't Lewis drive the number two McLaren? He had number two on his McLaren.
But again, probably only for testing times, for bits and pieces, and for photographic, sort of like for promotional use. It's very much his 44 was in use.
But when he first come through, I reckon he was using the number two.
We need to do some proper research.
We really do. God, I hope I'm not sounding like an idiot now.
And from the last podcast, I was able to answer the James Hunt question. It's on the YouTube. It's all there for you.
You did, yeah. That was with
Nathan. When you said Keith will know, I was listening to the podcast. Yeah, I do actually. That's sad, but I do.
No, it's not sad. I knew you would know. I knew you wouldn't let me down. I need to do some serious research, because I'm probably sounding like an absolute idiot right now, but I am almost certain that Lewis drove the number two car and Fernando Alonso drove the number one.
I think trouble is, where we've been watching it for so many years, and and I was watching, as from a kid and stuff with Dad and my brothers on the TV. These years do merge. I absolutely have to stop and think sometimes, what year was that? Because I just remember them being in the Marlboro colours, and then we changed colours again, and we went to silver arrows, and I can really quickly get lost in that time span of who was in the car at what time and what number were they carrying. Was it Prost? Was it Senna? Was it who had the 11? Who had the 12?
Well, you're as big a fan as they get, and for you to be struggling like that makes me feel a whole load better.
Oh, I get myself in a right 2-8 at times.
That's music to my ears, mate, because I'm terrible, and sometimes I'm sure I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, but
I think
most of the
most
time I don't,
fans.
to be fair. But
Do you know what though? Seriously, on the serious, I think most real, even super fans that class themselves a super fan. I don't do that because, in fact, I get no, I definitely don't put myself in that category. I just will never do that. But some of them, they say, yeah, it does. It merges. They all talk about how the dates merge, and
mm,
I get imposter syndrome when I'm around some people. I'm like, oh, they know what they're talking about, and I've forgotten.
that's me most days, mate. And when I speak to people on here, it's the same. That's why I
I've
always say I
got
still feel like an imposter.
I've got a full library of this is how sad I am. I have got book upon book upon book of Formula One right the way through the history. They don't get read anymore. They just get dusted. I really ought to open them up occasionally and do a fact check.
Just top the knowledge up a little bit. I've just done a quick Google, and it was 2008 that Lewis won with
Yeah,
McLaren, and then obviously 2009 was when Jensen won. So when
yeah,
Jensen came over to McLaren in 2010,
yeah.
he definitely used the number one,
Yes,
100%.
yeah.
Because I remember having a model which I've been trying to find. I've got a 118 scale model of Jensen in his McLaren, and I think it's
Mm,
in my loft somewhere. Um, but I'm also going to check on Lewis because I'm sure he
yeah,
used the number two when Fernando Alonso was the champion the previous year, who used the number one. I'm so
yeah.
because I've got a t-shirt which has got Hamilton and the number two on it as well.
Oh well, we
Um,
definitely need to check it out, don't we? But as we were saying, I'm still not sure. I'd love to. We can't really get a question to Lando at this point. Will you wear the number one? Because he's going to say, I don't even want to think about number one. I've still got
mm,
2 races to go. But in my heart, I think he's going to run number four. I reckon. I don't think he will put the number one on. I don't know why. I just get the feeling he will definitely stick with number four. But
yeah, we spoke about it a lot, didn't we, two
we
weeks
have, we
ago?
have.
But he's got a brand, hasn't he? LN4 is a big brand now, so he's got that to protect.
He's got all his bubbles, his fluorescent bubbles with the number four
Yeah.
integrated. There's lots of number fours integrated into his gear and his his t-shirts, and you have to look and you can see that there's the number four in that bit there. And I don't know, it's a hard one, isn't it? They'll protect his number though. They'll protect that number.
Oh, I mean, they're allowed, aren't they? I think even if a driver gives it up, the rules are that number that the driver had, if he takes the number one, doesn't go to anyone else. It's still that driver's number until the next
Mm,
person wins. Hence why number 33 is still available for Max.
yeah.
Although,
But
of
I did
course,
hear a rumor that might want to take number three for the three world champions, and he's got to go through Daniel Ricciardo to check to see if he can have the number three. Is what I heard. I
yeah,
don't know how true
I
this is.
saw that too. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think was it end of next year they said that the all the drivers can change their numbers. I think it's after 2026.
Yeah, I think there is that. If they want to stick with their number, or they can barter for numbers. I mean, I know there are certain protected numbers from drivers that have died where we've never run that number again. It was
mm,
part of what we'd never do. But yeah, it would be interesting to see if there is a swap around. It would cause chaos for me because I'll be like, oh no, my numbers are all up the blink.
it would take some getting used to, wouldn't it? That's for sure. But like I said, a lot of these drivers, they've got brands with their numbers. So I'd
Yeah,
be surprised if too many were to change, to be
yeah. I
truthful.
mean, going back to Lewis, he's like Lando. He has got 44 is a very much it's a
Yeah.
racing brand. It's a helping when he's working with children brand. The 44. It's wherever Lewis is, there's 44, isn't there?
Yeah, it's massive, isn't it? And it's the same for a lot
Mm,
of these drivers, to be honest. And
mm.
yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting. Personally, I would, and a lot of Lando fans will hate this, particularly the younger ones. I would love to see him take the number one. I think it's a real good Formula One tradition. I would love to see him driving around with number one on his car if he gets it. Of course, that's not taking to take anything for granted. But if he does do it, yeah, I personally would love that.
Do I want a picture of a papaya car with a big fat number one on it? You just
Absolutely.
know I do. Do I want to add it to my wall of art? You know I do. So
Yeah.
Emma, just putting it out there, Emma. If
Yeah.
he does get it, Emma, you could draw it upside down if you want.
Speaking of Emma, go and check out her website, emmacapenerart.com. All the links are in my link trees, and you'll find it. Enter
Yeah.
code Papaya, and you get 20% off as well. She does amazing things like that, and so many others.
She's
Go and check out Emma's work.
Just fantastic. But wouldn't it be nice if she did commission a Papaya car with a big fat number 1 on it?
Oh, it'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Oh.
Do you know what? I'm actually going to be a little bit gutted if Lando doesn't take the number 1. Should he win the championship? Yeah. I'm going to be a little bit gutted. I'm not going to lie.
I just want him to take the championship. At this stage, I'll worry about my numbers. I just want Lando to lift that crown and stand on his car and just go, yes.
It would just be relief.
Champagne. That'd be the best champagne pop we've ever seen.
Yeah, it really would. I mean,
wouldn't it be lovely? I mean, last race, all on Lando to bring the constructors home. People started saying he hasn't got the nerve, he hasn't got it, he can't do it. Well, he silenced a few people, didn't he? You know, and we got that constructors championship. You know, and can he do it? I think this is when he comes to his best. I actually think this will push him. This will have riled him up, and he'll be like, okay, all right, let's do this. That's my thoughts anyway.
Well, I've said it quite a lot. Whether he wins it or not this year, nobody can say, even if he throws it away at this stage, I don't care what anyone says, nobody can say he hasn't got championship mentality. Because since Zandvoort, when he was sat on the mound on the side of the track with his head in his hands, and most of us wanted to jump in the television to give him a hug.
Something clicked.
Since then, yeah, exactly that. Something's clicked. And that man has been unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I think that moment of reflection, he was left on his own. He didn't have people saying, chin up, Lando. He sat there. He was on his own. He watching the cars. And I think something clicked. I think that he was like, right, okay, it's time I showed you that I'm going to quieten these doubters down, which is why I love his few statements he's been making quite loud about people that are voicing off against him, people that are slating him, slagging him off, etc., etc. I just love his latest couple of statements. I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
And I do believe he's actually got that mentality now that he's going, say what you want. I'm the one driving the car.
That quote from him when he just said, I stopped caring what people said. It's just music to your ears, wasn't it? This is what everyone wanted to hear.
It was just fantastic. It was phenomenal to hear it come out of his mouth. No prompt, you know.
But it wasn't fake either. He meant every word of it.
He meant it. He was, you know, sitting on that sofa, you know, at the end. And again, when it was brought up at the end, he was like, I don't care what you say, you know. And I was like, come on, Lando, you can do this, son. Tell him.
Yeah, no, it's so good. It's so good. I just hope he's got to do it now. I was chatting to Perry from the Motorsport Review podcast, obviously, like I said, and Perry's still very confident for the reasons we just said. He only needs to gain 2 points on Max and Oscar. Let's not forget Oscar. Yep. And he's won it. So Perry's actually quite confident this time next week, Lando Norris is world champion.
I would love it. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, mate, wouldn't it be nice to just sit down for Abu Dhabi and just enjoy it? Just enjoy
the race, yeah.
Because last year, I don't think there's a McLaren or Ferrari fan, to be fair, out there who enjoyed that race last year. It was great afterwards, and Lando, wow, unbelievable, fantastic race, and showed nerves of steel. But actually, during that race, I don't think many people actually enjoyed watching it.
Well, it's funny, isn't it? Because this time last year, quite a few of the Papaya fans, we got together and we said, shall we go and have dinner near Woking? Shall we go and have a lunch? Because we know we can't get in there, but we could go and visit it if we win. So we get to this pub, this really quaint, old-fashioned, lovely pub that's got a big television that said, yes, you can watch the racing, dears. Well, I should imagine the whole village heard us. But, you know, watching that, I've got wifey as a Ferrari fan. She's getting the stick from everybody. And then when the racing started, it was a bit like, I was looking at her thinking, oh, my God. And then and I'm thinking, come on, Lando, please. And it was like those laps are going too slowly. Come on. So it was a great atmosphere. And then to go off to the sign, we all went off. And poor wifey, bless her, she never got in one photograph. Because we said to her, you are now the designated cameraman because we won and you didn't.
Oh, brilliant.
So yeah, but
Brilliant.
bless her, she did play a part in it. She takes it, she's got a good heart with it, and she loves the camaraderie and also that of winding each other up, that fun element of it. But yeah, it was good. But that last race was.
I tell you what, if Lando didn't hold it together, blimey, you lot would have been in for a hell of a lot of stick from one person, wouldn't you?
Could you imagine what we'd have all been looking at her going, get out, just get out in the rain. Don't stand out there in the rain now.
Oh,
it
dear.
was phenomenal. But Abu Dhabi, let's be honest, let's not drag up the past, but it's not always been the best of circuits for the last race. Come on.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've got nerves for that if it goes to that, to be honest.
No, don't, please, never again.
We'll
I don't
see.
think you. I think there's so
I'm getting nervous. I'm getting sweaty palms.
I think there's so many of us though that, regardless if you were a McLaren fan, Lewis fan, Max fan, I even heard Max fans saying they didn't agree with that decision from back when we don't talk about it anymore. But that could almost have taken me away from the sport. I know it did many others. They walked away from it, but I think if there hadn't been radical changes for the next year, I think I might have potentially gone away from it and gone full IndyCar and just literally walked away from it.
I mean, I refuse to acknowledge that Lewis has only won 7. He's won 8. He's won 8, and that's it.
Absolutely.
He might not have 8 on his record, but for me, he's won 8, and it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was disgusting.
But also, we talk about my relationship. We talk about the Papaya and the Scarlett relationship. Well, it doesn't just happen in the Muse household, I'll have you know. It also happens between Fred and Zach. I love the relationship between Zach when they photobomb each other and the crews get each other. I just think that makes me happy that we've got a paddock where behind the wheel, they're going to race and they're going to race hard. But once the race is finished or, during those off times, you see these pranks being played on each other by the different teams. That it brings it to life, doesn't it? It makes it very human. And you think, yeah, there is more to this than just out and out, rubbing, racing and things like that. So.
Do you know what? I'm with you. I think it's great. There's a lot of people that don't like it. That wouldn't have happened back in the day. When you hate each other on the track, you hate each other off the track. That's fine. That's your opinion. That's fine. Yeah. My opinion is, very much like yours, mate. I think it's great. Max and Lando, 2 championship rivals. They're the best of friends off the track, and they have been for some time.
When we were qualifying, Q3 finished, Lando's getting out of the car. Who walks past him, taps him on the bum and taps him on the head? But Carlos gives him a big love signal. I mean, why wouldn't you want that kind of relationship? They share they share airplanes to and fro circuits. These are young lads at the pinnacle of the game. They're gladiators. But it doesn't mean they have to hate each other all the time.
No. As much as I love that, I'm going to contradict myself a little bit now and say I love when Mika Hakkinen talks about him and David Coulthard.
Yeah.
And the best of friends now. But when they were racing, they wouldn't even travel together. And even getting to the destination of the race was a race for them. Who can get there first? And that to me is that crazy mentality.
Well, you go back even further. Go back initially to James Hunt and Niki Lauda when they first started. They had an incredible friendship in the end. It was fantastic, and they still had moments where they disagreed with each other, but they did it in a great way. But initially, they did not like each other. But their relationship grew and grew and grew to be that Niki was probably one of his biggest fans and shouted out way after he died. Niki was still talking about him.
It's funny you should say that, mate, because only today, this afternoon, I saw a clip of Freddie Hunt, James Hunt's son, talking about that, saying that actually him and Niki, people don't realise they became very, very good friends and they used to room together and everything.
They were
I'll
very
be honest,
close.
mate. I wasn't aware they were that close until I saw that clip this afternoon. So it's funny you bring that up tonight.
No, they were very close. They, one was very much a racer and a designer and a builder, and one was a playboy. But they got on great. They got on fabulous.
Yeah. playboy, but an awesome driver as well,
But if you
obviously.
look at
But
through the years, we've had some duos in the same team that haven't always gone, haven't we? We've seen this on more than one occasion.
yeah,
We know of a few just a few years ago that wouldn't share any data across the garage. They
yeah,
wouldn't look at that, put screens up so they couldn't even see each other sitting in the car.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. It certainly doesn't seem that way now. Lando came out recently and said that his and Oscar's relationship is as good as ever, if not better than ever before. Um, Zach's often said they've never fallen out, the two of them. Okay, there's been some crosswords towards Zach or Andrea, but the two of them have never fallen out. Whether that is entirely true or not, I guess we'll never know. But I've got no reason to not believe it. They certainly don't come across as any dislike body language if you read all that sort of stuff. They both seem okay.
Yeah,
Yes, they can be
yeah.
annoyed after races or after incidents, but I think, not long after they're back to being fine again.
I think they've got to have that debrief, that racing debrief. They get rid of all those anxieties, all what potentially push their buttons, etc. And then they walk out and go, quick coffee, or
Yeah,
something like that. And they've let it go because then they're thinking about the next race and how they're going to use it. And you can almost guarantee they're racing each other in the sim.
yeah,
On that to get to know that track
yeah,
and where they can be. You can pretty much guarantee they're racing in that sim against each other
yeah.
and learning from one another. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just wanted to say one more thing on qualifying quickly. We've kind of
oh yeah,
completely got off the race, but that's fine this weekend. I think most
yeah,
McLaren fans will be all right with that.
I think so.
Hopefully next week we will be solely talking about the race and a new world champion. But I do want to quickly go back to qualifying this weekend just gone.
Mm,
Something I found really interesting. I know the conditions were crazy,
mm.
but um, there was only two teams with two drivers in the top 10.
Yes.
McLaren and the Racing Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
There was even an
Mm-hmm.
Alpine in
There was
Q3.
indeed. Yeah, yeah, there was. Gasly has always been. He can qualify. That boy can drive. He can qualify. But yes, it was a real mixture, wasn't it? It was an absolute mixture of driver and team. And I do think there would have been if they hadn't have done that, why they changed to the intermediate, I will not know. But I think we'd have seen a Stroll up there as well.
God, could you imagine? Heaven forbid. Um,
Stroll, one of us.
let's quickly touch on the race. I don't know if anyone's interested. I'm sure there's non-McLaren fans that have listened into this just to hear me and you on the brink of tears, just so they
Why
can have
not?
a laugh. And listen, I would do the same. So I'm not even blaming you. I'll do exactly the same.
I sulked. I'm absolutely happy to admit I sulked.
Me too, mate. I'm not sure I'm quite over it yet, and it was
No,
2 days ago, 3 days
look,
nearly. Yeah, there we go. Lando finished second, Oscar finished fifth, but he got fourth because of Kimi's 5 second penalty, of course. So
yes, he did
actually,
because of
Oscar would have
Kim.
been fourth.
Yeah, he would have been.
As it happens, they were both DNFs. Funny story about that. Not funny to McLaren fans, but if anyone here is listening that isn't a McLaren fan, you're going to love this. I saw a tweet last week, possibly the week before, saying McLaren DNF, McLaren DNF, or sorry, McLaren double DNF, McLaren double DNF, McLaren, and it said it about 5 or 6 times. And then it said underneath, talking it into existence. I quote tweeted that and put it in my drafts, right? So directly when the race finished, before I'd refreshed my Twitter, I put a GIF there which said, "Not today, Satan." Right? It was quite a funny GIF, and I sent it. And then I quickly realized what had happened, so I had to go back and delete it as quickly as possible. I wonder if anybody actually saw that tweet.
Yeah.
Talk about
Well,
karma, right?
I'm going to say, I've got to be honest and say, because I was sulking, and I was man sulking and doing a really good job of it, I didn't actually go back live onto social media for a good few hours because I'll be honest, I just didn't want to read the negativity because I knew that I would be responding in ways that were no longer politically correct and would have probably got me banned.
Yeah,
I thought it better to stay off.
I had a lot of. Are you sure about that? You might want to check that.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
Yeah.
On one of my notes, bearing in mind I type all these up whilst I'm watching.
Yeah, me too.
Was we've never qualified or finished in the top 5 in Vegas before. Okay, granted, this is only the 3rd race in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
On this occasion, Lando was 2nd, Oscar was 5th but promoted to 4th.
Mm.
Brilliant. We finally have cracked the top 5. Nope, we're going to year 4, still not finishing in the top 5. We qualified in the top 5, of course. Both cars did. In fact, Lando was obviously on pole and Oscar was 5th. But still haven't finished in the top 5. Hopefully they'll put that right next year.
So we're going to, yeah, we can do that next year. We're going to do it.
Hopefully, mate. Quick chat about the start. We haven't touched on that yet because I want to get your perspective first. Lando didn't have a bad start. Max had a great start.
Max had a fantastic start. Lando's reactions were only milliseconds away from that of Max. Lando pointed the car in the right direction, in my opinion, but slightly overcooked it. And rather than taking everybody out, I think he made the decision to go run wide and come back in. He definitely overcooked that corner. I don't think he'd stopped. I don't think he'd have got that car turned.
I agree. What was your initial thought before the corner, before he overcooked the corner, when he turned into Max? What was your initial thought?
I'll be honest, my initial thought was, oh, no, 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 no. I think it was the same word that went over and over in my brain. Please don't take each other out.
Right. So my initial thought was, because once I saw Max, once he had made the move and Max had obviously dropped off pretty rapidly, I was shouting, I was cheering at the telly, going, "Come on, this is aggression. That's the kind of thing that Max would do to you or anyone else on the grid."
That's why I was shouting, no, 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 no.
Brilliant. And then, of course, you quickly realise that Max hadn't backed off because Lando did that move. He backed off because there was a corner coming up, which Lando had overcooked.
Yes.
So I had gone from jumping up, yes, come on, to, oh no, what are you doing?
Yeah. I think that was my exact sentiments. The neighbours could hear at that point. And then just behind it, when you've got the replay of behind it of what was going on in that first corner and people rubbing each other and tapping each other and woof. And then penalties being given. And then there was did Kimi have that? Did he jump start? Was he rolling? You're like, come on, stewards, let us know what's going on. Don't just stick the exclamation mark up. Tell us what's going on, keep us updated.
Kimi's penalty, I thought, was extremely harsh. Again, I understand rules are rules, and you can't do that. But when you have to slow it down to super slow motion,
that's what I thought. When Ant was at the Skypad, when they said to Ant at the Skypad, "Can we have a look?" and Ant said, "I've got to do this on such slow motion that you can see his car move."
Yeah.
But then again...
But it's not like he gained anything from it. He actually had a bad start.
He did. But I suppose when you're talking rules are rules, we didn't gain anything from having a lesser board, but we still got penalised. So I suppose if we want consistency and we want fairness across the board, we've got to be ready to accept when it comes our way, even though I didn't agree with it. But
yeah, no, you're right.
It's a hard one.
Rules are rules, right? They've got to be strict and everything.
Let's go to the halfway point, though, Jimmy. Let's go halfway point. We're in sort of like lap 23, 24 time, yeah? So we've got Verstappen in lead, followed by Leclerc, Russell, Norris, Hulkenberg, Hamilton, Ocon, Antonelli, and Piastri. What a mix-up by mid-race point.
Yeah.
Those names, what a mix-up. We've got Hulky's up there again. He's mixing it with them. We've got Ocon up there again. Just behind them, we still had such a strong field. It was just madness. It
really was. Yeah, it was mad. I mean, yeah, Hulk's great. I love Hulkenberg. What he's doing with that Sauber is fantastic.
It's brilliant.
Um, again, just quickly, Oscar didn't get the best start either. He got passed by
No,
both the racing bulls.
no, he really didn't, did he?
Which both the racing bulls, yeah, they just he did get the place back, of course, but for what it was
Yeah.
worth. But yeah, no, like you say, it was great. There's so many, like a real mixture of cars in qualifying and in the race. Throughout, it was. Do you know what? It wasn't a bad race weekend if
No,
you're
it
not a
wasn't. I
McLaren
mean,
fan or
no.
a
I
Ferrari
mean, I
fan.
think it was either lap 33 or lap 34. It might have been lap 34 when Lando came absolutely screaming past George, at
Mm.
a rapid rate of knots. And it was like, whoa, come on. This is it. We are racing here. We're game on.
Do you know what though? I think George was more than happy to concede that position at that
Yes.
time. He
I
even
don't think
come
he was
on.
going to fight that when he saw him coming. There was no point in
Yeah,
fighting it.
he even went on his radio, didn't he, to say, look, he sort of basically said to them, "I've got a McLaren coming up. Is it worth fighting him? I've got a podium here." He knew it.
Exactly.
He knew he was giving that
This is
position
not
up, I
our
think.
fight, is the answer. Let him go.
Speaking
Yeah.
of fighting, Kimi Antonelli again, incredible defending, absolutely incredible.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I mean, I said on the Motorsport Review with Perry, I'm going to start calling Kimi Antonelli Paolo Maldini, who, in my opinion, in fact, it's not an opinion. Paolo Maldini is the greatest defender to ever live. If you're a football
Yeah.
fan, and he's
And now he's in the
Italian,
car.
and Kimi's Italian. He'll be well aware who Paolo Maldini is. I'm going to start calling Kimi Paolo because his defense is incredible.
That's one wide car, isn't it?
Ah, it's unbelievable.
He reads that.
Unbelievable.
He reads that racetrack. He reads those racing lines. He knows when they're going to move, so he goes with it. He's not impeding them.
No,
He's not moving
under
multiple times.
not
He's
moving
just
under braking.
he's reading that track and going, yeah, you want this line? Here you go. Then got past me first. I'm going
Do
to
you
be
know
on that
what,
one.
mate? If they were still racing now, I don't think Oscar would have got past him. He was just, yeah, incredible. Absolutely
Oscar was
incredible.
the only way that Oscar was going to get past was obviously that 5 seconds, but we won't put that. The only way to have done that is if they'd had to call Kimi in for another pit stop. That was
Mm.
the only way to have done it if they were coming through for a pit stop.
Well, he certainly blooming got them tyres going, didn't he? For however
Lit
many
them.
laps, 40 odd laps or whatever it was.
Well, I kind of thought, is he going to come back in? Are they going to run him to the end? And then, of course, they ran him to, and it was like, wow, he's kept them. How has he kept them alive?
Yeah, it was quite amazing, wasn't it? I want to touch on. I don't like to be negative about
Mm-hmm.
the footage, and I know this isn't a Sky thing. They're not in
No,
control of what's being shown, so I'm not
no.
having a go at any of those guys. But at one point in the race, instead of showing Max coming out of the pits with George Russell coming down the straight,
That's
and
right.
the commentators are watching, like going, "Oh my God, this is going to be close," blah blah blah
Mm.
blah blah.
And I was like, where is it then?
They were showing Carlos Sainz following Charles Leclerc with no threat of an overtake. He wasn't
No,
close enough to overtake. He
no.
was basically, they were both just cruising. Why the
Yep.
hell were you not showing what was happening?
And why didn't we see the pit stops as well? Why weren't we seeing the
Yeah,
timings? When we was hearing box, I
yeah,
think we all go straight to the corner of the screen thinking, right, what speed, how quickly are we going to do this pit stop? So many of them were missed. And at one point it was like, when did they get called in then?
yeah,
It was just, I do think they missed a trick there because we do like a pit stop. A lot of us are sitting there watching our watches, watching our clocks, thinking, has he got it? Will he get it? Will he get out in time? That was taken away from us from track racing. That
yeah. Yeah, that's they got. I know there was a lot of talk about why they're showing the wives and the girlfriends and stuff, and which seems to have stopped a little bit, or certainly not as much.
not as much, but
But
we're still going to
also
the,
follow the actual where there's stuff happening. Don't just anyway
we
rant
don't want to
over.
hear about an overtake. We want to see the overtake. And,
Exactly that.
you'd hope that the producers watching those multi screens going, right, quick, camera 5, flip to 5 because we're going that way, or, yeah, you would hope. You would hope.
Regardless of how beautifully Jensen is describing it, we still want to see it as well.
You would like to see it. And I've got to be honest, I'm a saddo. I like to see pit stops. I do like
Mate,
to
I'm
see,
with
I
you.
want to know if we've got fastest pit stop. I'm not going to
They're,
lie.
they're so important, especially in this day and age. Probably now as much, if not more than ever. Pit
Yeah,
stops are vitally important.
yeah.
Um, Speaking of the pit stops, we had a Oscar came in on lap 21. He had a 2.7 second stop.
Mm-hmm.
Lando came in the following lap and had a 2.5 second stop.
Yeah.
Neither of them absolutely amazing, but both very solid. Anything under 3 seconds, especially in those conditions, I think you're going to be pretty happy with.
And of course, we know that Max got a 3 second one.
Exactly.
He was on
Yeah.
that 3 second cusp.
Yeah.
So, whereas we just nipped underneath it, didn't we?
Yeah. So again, shout out to the guys because they're solid pit stops, and that's been a worry. Obviously, not so much lately in the last couple of races, but going
Yeah.
into those,
And a big shout out to the team as well, because they would be just as deflated as we were. They were probably throwing tools into their toolboxes rather than placing tools. But, they've had to pick up their pieces. They've had to pack up their troubles. And they've got to box it all up so that we can go racing this weekend. And
yeah,
they'll go out there with fresh faces on, with new perspective on, and they will be focusing on what's in front of them, not what was behind them. They've got to put all of that away. All of those emotions have got to be packed up so that they can give us the best opportunity this weekend. And that can't be easy. That can't be easy when you've just been told your car has been disqualified.
it can't. But knowing
They're so professional.
about these guys
Yeah.
and meeting some of the team, which I've
Yeah.
been lucky enough to do, not the mechanics in the garage on race days, but the team. The motto is forever forward,
It
and
is. It is.
every single person in that team genuinely believes that and lives by that. So
Let, yeah.
that's gone now, and
Let's go back
I'm
to the old. Let's go back to the old one where he's pointing. It says, "Believe in McLaren."
yeah, yeah.
We can do
Uh,
this, can't we? We can do this.
Yeah, my final notes was quite clearly both cars are qualified in capital letters. We all know that happened.
Yeah, mine just says, "No, no, no, no,"
And there's
and lots
probably
of
a.
sad little emoji faces when I was doing it on me, writing it on my iPad. There's lots of no's and unhappy emojis.
Do you know what? I'm quite impressed that neither of us have used, even on our notes, any bad language.
I
That's how
think we've
professional we are.
I think we've controlled our language very well. Although I'm not confessing that I didn't have Tourette's during it when I was off air and nobody was watching or listening.
Yeah, even Lando dropped an F-bomb, didn't he, in his interview afterwards, and that was before the disqualification.
That was before the disqualification. The F bomb came
You
in.
can imagine what he was saying afterwards. The one
Yeah,
thing I do want to say on it, and I don't want to badmouth the team because this McLaren team is fantastic, and
they are
a lot of
phenomenal.
people have. And yes, it shouldn't happen, especially
But,
this late in the season, especially
but it
when
does.
your driver's on top. Um, they, you have to question why they ran so low when they're the leading team. They did not need to take the risks they've taken. That part is quite hard to take, but I'm sure they'll be thinking the same thing. Um,
Yeah, I've got to be honest. That was one of mine. Was why did we run it at such a low down? Why were we down there? If we knew there was a risk, why did we do it?
yeah, and they did not need to take that risk. It, if Lando had finished in the top five, solid weekend. Solid weekend. You've
It'd
come
be
away
fantastic.
with a lot of points.
Yeah,
Chances are he would have won it in Qatar next
yeah,
weekend.
yeah,
Um, he still may, of course, but that was
yeah.
really what I can't get my head around is just why they took the risk.
That was me when I eventually calmed down, Jimmy, and I stopped having my sulky moments. There was that part of me that said, "What? So why did we take that risk? Did we expect them not to pick on both McLarens to go into scrutineering? How many cars did get taken into scrutineering? Did ours get picked on because of the amount of sparks that we didn't see on the camera, but they did see trackside? I'd love to know how many cars got taken in for their skid
Well,
plates
I
and
can
been measured.
tell you,
Oh, can you?
it was all of the top 10.
Then I will rewind that and say, well, that was good that they did all 10.
Yeah, that my understanding it was I've seen it online. I'm not sure how creditable it is, but my understanding is all of the top 10 got taken in to have the same tests done,
Then
same
fair
checks.
enough. I stand by their decision. But again, I suppose if I'm not careful, I, like others, can let that conspiracy theory jump in my brain. I don't want it to, but it can find a little bit of space in there sometimes, lay dormant, and me worrying about it. But if they did all top 10, I'll take it.
Yeah, we have to, mate. We have to.
I'm just not going to go with all the hatred. Again, I just call out everybody. If you're a proper fan, if you're a proper McLaren fan, stop the hatred between the team. Stop putting barriers up where there is none. It's just getting boring now.
This team over the last 18 months, longer than that, but the turnaround in the last 18 months, this team has been incredible. And yet one big mess up, okay, some will argue there's been more than that from decision making, but this is a monumental mess up. We can't shy away from that.
No.
But it's the first one we've had. Yeah, we have to own it. But it happens. People make mistakes. It's the tiniest of margins. We can't go, oh, what are you doing? Yes, we can in the moment. Of course we can. But actually, for people to still be going, this team don't know what they're doing. Some of the comments I've seen on Twitter to their admin who have posted stuff, it's an absolute disgrace. Absolute disgrace what some of the people are putting. They forget where we were 3-4 years ago. 2 years ago.
Last 18 months, phenomenal changes, big turnaround, unbelievable turnaround. 20 months ago, people were putting up papaya-coloured tractors in every comment, going, oh, look at you lot driving a tractor. And we've gone from the Honda years to the tractor years to, being phenomenally good, really bringing it together. Zach and Andrea and the chief mechanics have done an amazing job in turning our team around.
Yeah.
So why are we turning them out? Why can't we just get behind our team and say, this is fantastic?
Yeah, and we're still favourites to win the drivers, right? We've won the constructors by an absolute mile.
I'm modelling the new cat.
Keith's got his new hat on, which is beautiful. That's a beautiful cat. It's a proper smart-looking cat, that one.
Anybody wants it, go on to newera.co.uk, put in a discount code. They're there for you guys. They're doing Black Friday, Cyber Week. Get it ordered.
It's a beautiful cat. I might have to get me one of them, I think.
It did have to come special. As soon as it landed, it was like bank account.
Yeah, I do. No, I do like that, mate. It's a beautiful, beautiful hat. One more thing I want to say on the disqualification, and again, I said it with Perry on the race review podcast. The one thing that I was gutted but relieved about was both cars got disqualified.
Totally agree.
If only one of them had got disqualified, whether that be Lando or Oscar, could you imagine what people would have been saying, these conspiracy theories online?
I don't even want to go there, Jimmy. It would have been foul. It would have been, had it been Oscar, as you say, or Orlando, if one of them had got disqualified and one hadn't, it would all been, oh, that was orchestrated. It's favoritism. Zach's got his favorite boy. And
yeah. So that was one. I'm not going to call it a positive because it's not, but that's one thing to take away.
It was a fair point. If both of us they can't now start screaming, because no one builds a £20 million car to sabotage it. We've said it over and over again. The only person that can sabotage their own race is the driver if it does something silly.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, exactly that. But yeah, that was one. I did see quite a funny meme. I'm gonna end on a light-hearted, funny note. And it was something like, McLaren, can you prove that you're not favouring one driver? And then the double disqualification poster underneath it.
Well, we'll take that.
You know what? Listen, you got to have a little bit of a chuckle, right? And I did think that was quite funny. So whoever made that, fair play.
We'll take that one.
Listen, we've got to take it on the chin. Hopefully, Drivers' Championship still comes back to the NTC. I wish I was as confident as Perry. I am still a little bit confident, but I'm just nervous. Yeah,
I'm nervous.
Man. Yeah, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous.
I don't think I've ever wanted anything so much. So I'm so worried.
I know, man. Yeah, I'm really nervous. But either this time next week or this time in 2 weeks' time, fingers crossed, we've got another McLaren World Drivers' Championship on our hands.
So if you want to hear our side of this, tune in. Come and find us on the race review. Come and listen to Jimmy and Keith, losing track of everything they do. But you know what? We'll give you a race review of some kind.
Yes, we absolutely will. And do you know what? If Lando wins it, I might even pop a champagne. I'm not even a big champagne guy, but I might even pop a bottle of champagne whilst we record. Sounds right, doesn't it?
Oh, what a
Keith,
moment.
Thank you, mate. I know the result wasn't great, but I've still loved every second of this, mate. And we got off track a little bit, but that's all right. That's all right.
That's what we do. It's what we do.
It really is. Guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. This has been the Papaya Pod race review with Jimmy and Keith. Until next time.
Never stop racing. And remember, give us a thumbs up, give us a follow, and share with others if you're enjoying what we're doing.
Please do, guys. See you next time.